Hey guys, Chef Kev D here from the Food Network. This is episode 2 of VINO is Live. We're here at VINOvations in Sharon, Massachusetts. We're having a fun time with this web series. We're going to cook a little bit. We're going to talk about some wine. You guys might know me from the Food Network, Great Food Truck Race, Beef Bobby Flay, Chef Wine with Ambrell, and today's show with Kathleen Hoda. I'm a private chef. I get to work with fun people. John Legend, Jay Leno, Little Big Town, Red Sox Patriots. Things like that, but I also do events in people's homes and that sort of thing. So because we're all kind of stuck at home in the current situation, we thought we'd bring a dinner party to your house. So I'm going to make a dish, we're going to pair some wines, and we're going to have a little fun. All right? So I'm going to make a dish, but first I'd like to bring in a very special guest this week, my friend Daria. Come on in.
Hello.
This is Daria.
Hi.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Daria, and I am one of the owners of Wine of Moldova, USA. So we import wines from Moldova. So you can call me an expert, expert, and of Moldovan wines in the United States, I guess.
Very cool. And so today we're going to be pairing this Cabernet and also cooking with it. So if you want to talk a little bit about that.
So this cab is from Moldova, and for those who don't know Moldova, I'll just really give a tiny geography lesson. It's the smallest country between Romania and Ukraine. So it's kind of like a landlocked country between Romania and Ukraine. So this is one of the smallest wineries, just mother, father, and two-daughter operation. It's called Gitana Winery from the very south of Moldova. And we're trying their Cabernet Sauvignon today.
Perfect.
So this cab is really strong, robust. I mean, powerful. It has really strong tannins, black pepper, blackberries. Also, it's just as powerful as you can get because it's been sitting in oak for 2 years. Perfect. So you get all those tannins from the oak, and use Sauvignon oak. If for someone who wants to know about Sauvignon oak, you can ask me. So that's the cab, and again from Moldova.
And the cab is going to go perfect with our dish tonight because we're making seared pork with some blackberry jam, and we're going to use a little bit of this cab in our jam because it has the same kind of notes with the fruit that we're using.
Would you like?
I would love some. And we're going to save a little for our jam. And we're going to do a socially responsible cheers to start us off here.
Cheers.
All right, so moving right along into our dish. This is a pan-seared pork loin, which we have nice loin here. And also feel free to text in your questions. I'll come right back to you, answer as much as we can. And we're going to want to aggressively season our pork loins. Okay, both sides. And we're going to set this right here for a minute. It's important to get your meat to room temperature before you cook it because it's cold on the inside when you pull it right out of the fridge. You want it to warm up just a little bit so it cooks a little more evenly. In a saucepan here, we're going to take a Granny Smith apple and we're going to dice it. 1-inch cubes. Doesn't have to be perfect.
Hey Chef, can we use a different kind of apple? Why Granny Smith?
You could use a different kind of apple. I love the Granny Smith because it has that little bit of sour that's going to go great with the wine and the rest of the ingredients. It's also going to cut through that fat of the pork. It's also a much firmer apple, so it'll stand up to the saute. So we have our saucepan here on a 6, and we want to put just a dollop of olive oil, about the size of a quarter. You don't need a lot. And we're going to go right in here with our apples. Okay?
So how thin or thick the pork has to be?
This pork here is about almost 2 inches thick. You could use a pork chop. If you wanted to roast a pork loin, this jam would go well with that too. Because we're only doing a quick video for you, we're going to do something that cooks up very quick. But you could roast a whole pork and do it that way. But the easy answer is about 2 inches thick. Here we go. And so our pork pan, we want it to be about on a 7 out of 10, so that's a medium high. Because we want to get a nice crust on our pork, a nice sear to lock in those flavors. So our apples are going here, a little bit of salt and pepper. And we want to cook those down until they just start to get a little soft. You want a little bit of crunch, but not to go too far as they become applesauce, okay? And so our saute pan, again, a little olive oil. This is a non-stick pan, so you don't technically need it, but it helps a little bit. And we're going to go right in here.
Would you put any other spices but salt and pepper?
Salt and pepper, and that's it. Because the jam is very robust and it's sweet and savory, it's tart, so you don't want to use really too many seasonings because what happens is your dish becomes muddled. There's too many flavors going on, you don't know what you're tasting. So my view on cooking is the simpler the better. So for instance, the jam only has 4 or 5 ingredients, only 2 spices on the fork, and you can taste all the flavors and you know everything that's in there.
So you put olive oil, would you put butter?
You could put butter. The only downfall to butter is that it burns a lot faster. So for something like this, you would use oil. Better off if you want to use a little butter to use a mix of oil and butter, and that won't burn as fast. Okay, so we get a nice sear going on that. Let's see. Now that our apples are kind of getting sauteed, they're starting to get a little bit of caramelized there. We have a pint of blackberries. I'm going to go right into that pan. And we're going to give it a little...
Oh, blackberries in the sauce and blackberries in the wine.
Perfect. And we're also going to cook with the wine. So all those flavors are going to be married together, and you're going to get a dish that just sinks. And we're looking at our pork. We want about 2 minutes on each side. We want a nice brown, kind of caramelized crust on there. And what else do you want to tell us about the wine?
It's an amazing wine. Another thing is actually this wine is called Autograf. So if you look at the bottle, it's kind of a cute label. Can I just
of course.
show the label? So this is a tip of the pen, if you can see it. So Autograf is just a signature of one of the owners of this winery, and we'll always know whose signature this is. It's on the back of the label. So this is Petru. That's the father. So that's his signature on the bottle of the wine.
So it actually is Autograf.
It is Autograf, but that's the line, yes.
Oh, I get it. Very cool. All right, so 2 minutes in our pan, and we're going to flip it. You see the nice brown caramelization that we're getting right there? You see that? Can you see that at home? You smell it? Wish you could. So caramelization, that brings out the natural flavors. You're going to get a nice crush from the salt and pepper. And we're sauteing our jam over here. Now that this is cooking down, we're going to take a little bit of our Autograf, which we've drank quite a bit already, so there's only a little bit left. But you just want about that much to deglaze the pan with. Okay, we'll turn it up a little bit. And that's going to marry those flavors, the apples, the blackberries. It's a very jammy black peppercorn. What other notes to have in that Cabernet?
Black currant, red currant.
Black currants, red currants. So you're going to get a lot of flavors from the wine and the fruit. So we're going to tie that all in together. A little salt and pepper in our jam. And our fork's getting close.
Hey Chef, if we don't have any blackberries or apples, is there something else we could use to make this jam?
Of course. You'd want to use a different wine and some different spices, but you could do this with raspberries. They cook a lot faster, they're much more delicate, so you wouldn't want to cook them very long. Any type of jam you want. For this, the blackberries and that Granny Smith apple, they really hold up to the pork, so that's why they go perfect with this dish, but you can really make anything you want.
Maybe pears might be nice.
Oh, you could substitute the apples for pears, for sure. All right, so our jam is starting to reduce. We take a little bit of balsamic vinegar. If you have balsamic glaze at home, balsamic vinegar, it all works pretty well. But we just want a few drops of this, and you're going to get that nice savory, tart acidity from the balsamic. And that's going to reduce a little bit.
What would you rather use, balsamic vinegar or balsamic glaze?
Vinegar, but I have used glaze in a pinch. So if you have that in your fridge, feel free to use it up. Sometimes it works really well because it's a jam, you want it to be thick rather than loose, so sometimes the glaze brings it together. But we're going to cook this down enough so it becomes nice and thick.
That looks good.
You see how it's simmering there? Our apples are starting to get soft, our blackberries are starting to get soft, our wine is simmering, our balsamic is simmering, you get all of the permeating the flavors, right? And as that's simmering, we're going to take some sugar. We're going to add our sugar. Now, you can add as much or as little sugar as you want. It can be a sweet jam or a savory jam. We're going to go right in the middle with this because it's a savory dish. We don't want it to be overly sweet. But if you wanted to add more sugar, you could use that on a nice cheese plate with burrata, which would go great with this wine. You could put it on pancakes, croissants, whatever you like. So you can make a big batch of this. Since you're all stuck at home right now, make a big batch, throw a quart in the fridge, and you could just have it for the next 3 weeks to munch on and eat it plain, eat it with meat. This goes great with duck. This is actually perfect for a duck dish. Or venison, any kind of game, wild boar, it goes really well with. I'm going to do a little more sugar because we want it to cook down. So our pork is right where we want it to be. 2 minutes on each side. You see that beautiful brown caramelization? Can you see that? Huh? Huh? So we're going to throw it on our cutting board. We're going to let it rest. It's about a medium right now. We want to pull it off at a medium. It's going to carry over and it's going to rest right there.
Why do we want to let it rest, Chef?
It's important when we're cooking meat to always let it rest because it's packed with flavors and juices. And if you cut it right now, all your juices you would lose. You've probably heard me say it a few times. Let your meat rest because you want that flavor to come out on your plate and not on your cutting board. So we're going to let it rest. And what's going to happen is that meat is going to release and relax a little bit. And then when you slice it, all the juice will stay in the meat as opposed to run all over.
I think you need to cover it. Would you cover that?
I would not, especially with pork, because it overcooks very quickly, and you don't want that.
What meat would you cover?
Anything thicker or like a steak that's rare would carry over a lot slower than pork. Pork cooks very fast, and there's not a lot of fat content, and it's lean, so you don't want it to get too tight. So here we go. And then we have a second wine that some of you guys at home ordered already. Would you like to talk a little bit about this?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So this is kind of interesting wine. I mean, here we had Cabernet Sauvignon, which is your known grape, your European varietal. But we're in Moldova now, and we actually have a lot of indigenous grapes. They're all sort of tongue twisters. Rara Niagara is one of them. Fitasca Niagara, Fitasca Alba, Fitasca Regala, Viorica. But this is not one of them. This is actually a Georgian varietal. It's called Saperavi. So Saperavi is sort of the king grape of Georgia. But this particular Saperavi was grown in Moldova because during the USSR time, it was brought to Moldova and now they cultivate it and they actually have a lot of it. So Saperavi is really intense grape. What's another special about this wine is it was aged in clay amphora. In Georgia, they call it kvibri. So this is a big clay pot where everything, the fermentation and the aging process is happening. So that's what they did here for Saperavi. And this is really it's a lot of flavors in this wine. So we have dark cherry, we have dark chocolate, tobacco, we have juicy pomegranate, really pronounced minerality, and that's because of the clay pot or clay vessel. But yet it's really soft and creamy on finish. So really nice and easy drinking wine, but has a lot of flavors. So not an easy word to remember, Saperavi, but a really amazing wine.
Ooh, that is creamy.
It is creamy.
I like that a lot. So our jam is starting to come together. We've let our pork rest a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and slice it. We want it to be just a little bit pink inside because we're going to add that hot jam, and that's going to continue to cook as well.
So 2 minutes on each side made it just pink.
Yeah, so we're at about a medium-ish right here. You can see that at home. That's a medium, still pink. We're going to add some fresh hot jam to that, and it's going to continue to cook a little bit.
What if you want to cook it through?
If you want to cook it through, you could pop it in a sizzle platter or an all stainless steel pan and pop it in the oven at 350 for a couple more minutes and then continue to cook. So we're going to take our beautiful pork, which we've sliced, and we're just going to
have this combination of like salt and sweet.
Yes, sweet, savory.
All meat really go with this.
Yeah, you could use duck with this.
So duck, yes. I mean, I know about duck and applesauce, orange applesauce.
Yep,
right?
duck, wild boar. You could do steak with this. It really goes nice with game meats because you're getting that juicy berry. You get the wine, you get the balsamic, you get all kinds of flavors going on. So when you have something like duck, or wild boar that has a little bit of gaminess to it. Even lamb, this would go great with. It cuts through that gaminess. And so we're just about where we want to be on this. And we're just going to go right over the top. Like that. And for a little bit of crunch, you could put anything green on top of there that you want. I'm going to go with a few more Granny Smiths. So you have some soft ones in there in the jam. And then you have some nice crunchy ones on top. And we're just going to go like that. And so you have the soft ones, you have crunch, you have flavor. It's packed with flavor, and that goes really well with that wine. So here you guys go. You have a pan-seared pork with a fresh blackberry jam that we've paired with our Moldovan wines today. What do you think? Huh? Can you see it? See it? Smell it? Yeah, here. Director's yelling at me like up, down, up, down. So there you go. So that was episode 2. Vino is live. Episode 3 is coming to you June 11th. We're going to have a different wine, a couple different recipes. We're going to keep this going. Very informative today. I learned a lot about the wines that I didn't really know about in the region and things like that. And if you guys are interested in these wines, VINOvations.us will ship them directly to your house overnight in New England. A little farther, a little longer for California and other places like that, but overnight free shipping. Tell them you watch Vino is Live, and Jason Lee will give you a special code for a deal, and you can get them shipped right to your house. Nobody likes going out in the current situation and state of things, so why not open your door and have a case of wine sitting there? 2 bottles of wine, whatever it is. Now you have a dish that you can pair with it, and you're good to go. Perfect. Any questions?
No, Chef. That sounds like a great dinner. It's a wine
I'm
delivered
telling you,
to
a
your
couple
house.
wines, the pork. You don't have to leave. Next time we'll give you ingredients list. You can go out at any point when you're going to do your normal grocery shop, and you can get a few things on the list, and you can make this along with us. You can just drink along, watch along, whatever you guys want to do. We're here for you. Thank you to our special guest, Daria.
Please explore Moldova.
Explore Moldova. We'll see you soon from VINOvations. Vino is live.